Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahasham Barakakadash. These are blessings to the elect, the listening, learning, the Yaqib Walk about Yom. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, any other bishops. Much respect to the Mani Kabar Yom. When the house in the Yashal to the Maris and to the Kabar making videos of edification to wake up the lost sheep. Salutations to your last guys abroad, the beat unto the speckled bird. Some of the spirit of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai going into Jacob versus Esau, as the brothers have been posting and as, you've been seeing in the media, the racial tensions between Jacob and Esau, okay? Jacob being, the Israelites today, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Seminole Indians, and Native Americans, and all the scattered, those who are scattered amongst the other nations. And you have Esau, which is the progenitor of the so-called Caucasians, okay, the white race today. And we're seeing racial tensions escalate because of, ultimately prophecy, okay, but you see it, because of political conflicts and certain things, So it's going to get real out here, man. There's been certain things going at the job too, false accusations of some Shedamite falsely accused me of using one of the clients, hair clippers to, she said that I stole one of my client's hair clippers, to cut my hair, which obviously is untrue. My hair is still around, my hair is still up. But, I have my own grooming tools, and I use scissors, to groom the size of my beard, because it's all sticking out with that. But anyways, some hair got on the floor, some hair got on the sink or whatnot, and I cleaned it up to the best of my ability, right? So the next day I go to work, I'm hearing that one of the other clients, told the bosses that, I'm not the client, sorry, the employees I stole one of the clients, grooming tools to groom myself, and the whole bathroom was a mess and everything like that, which happened to be untrue. But I'm just using that as an example of how, especially back in the times of Jim Crow and chattel slavery, where especially the Shedamite woman will falsely accuse Jake, and I ultimately got Jake, lynched, beaten, so on and so forth. So the nature of Esau is showing, okay? Because you got to remember, it never went away. The scripture says, consider the work of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, who can make straight what he made crooked, okay? So their spirit is not upright, man. Okay, and they, a lot of them has been hiding it because of, they want to be politically correct and so on and so forth, right? Whatever. But now that, the economical structure is falling, a lot of these Edomites are showing their true colors, man. Falsely accusing, okay, starting shit, so on and so forth. And it's gonna get real out here, man. You had a Shedamite that did a TikTok saying, so-called black people don't want to race wars, you guys don't know how to shoot, which is true. You got, Jake out there shooting guns, sideways and shit, like a gangster. You don't shoot like that, Esau is perfecting his sword, which is his blessing. That goes back into the book of Genesis. Isaac, who was Yahushai, who gave Esau the blessing with the sword and the fatness of the earth. So Esau is sharpening that sword, sharpening that tool, okay? The tool of death. And Jake is in the crosshairs. A lot of Jakes, they still in La La Land, not understanding what's going on. But you have a few Jakes that do. And and a lot of them are waking up. But a lot of them are still in folly, So Second Ezra, the 15th chapter. But one shall stand against another with swords in their hands. Okay, one people against another, one place against another, right? That's in Second Ezra's. I forgot right now, but Yahweh Shem Yahushai, willing He bring it back to me. But there's a scripture set in Ezra that says, one place against another, one realm against another, right? Because that's going to go into Esau and all the other nations. Stop, they'll stop fighting and go against Yahushai, okay? But overall, it starts with Jacob versus Esau, man. And, especially up here, we got a lot of Trumpers up here. I live in the downtown part of the city, and there's a lot of liberals there. A lot of homos and everything like that. They had their little parade and all that bullshit, But, yeah, man, it's going to go down. You're going to have the left against the right. And, there was already an incident at one of the restaurants in the downtown part of where I live, where a guy tried to break the window of a business, of a bar, with a chair because of the flag. They had the the LGBT flag in the window. Okay, so hey, man, especially in Amos, when the word of the Lord is retracted, okay, when there's a famine of the word, it's a wrap, man. Okay, it's a wrap. There's going to be a lot of blood, man. Scriptures talk about how there's going to be bodies from one end to the earth to the next, man. No man shall lament them, because there's going to be so much bodies out there. There's going to be so much chaos, man. All right, bullets flying, people killing each other, robbing and stealing for the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay, it's coming. And only those who remain in the secret place of the Most High, says in Psalms 91st chapter, they're going to be protected, man. The scriptures say, when a man's ways pleases the Lord, He maketh his enemies to be at peace with him. So as long as we please Yahweh Shem Yahushai, we're going to have that hedge, that angel, right? That angel that camp around those that fear Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Okay? And, I've been watching, I've been staying up on movies like Bushwick and Book of Eli, man. Mad Max. I think I'm going to watch that again. These are the signs and wonders. The signs and wonders spoken about in the book of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, man. Okay? That's why we measure the times diligently in itself. It's gonna be crazy, and I can feel it, man. It's at the job. Everybody is, we already had a couple of people fired. One is claiming discrimination. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. It's going on at the job. And soon enough, man. Soon enough, it's gonna be a bloodbath. Thus saith Yahweh Shem Yahushai. So I'm at my destination now, just under the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Brothers and sisters, stay vigilant. Okay. Remain in the fear of the Lord. Okay. And keep your head on the swivel, as it says. Remain circumspect, because the days are evil. And with that, shalom.